Well, we've established our frame range for our idle cycle and animated the chest control. All right, so what let's do is let's go to frame 30 and let's work on where these hands are going to be. What are they going to do? I think as he breathes in, maybe that hand will move out just a hair, so I'll just select that and move it out slightly, and maybe move this one out slightly as well, like that. And then I'm going to take the keyframes for the hands right here, select these two, Shift D to duplicate and move them over to frame 60 as well. There we go. Now let's try that. All right. What we've got here is some classic tweening. The arms doing exactly the same thing at exactly the same time. So I'd like to kind of stagger that a bit, but the timing, once again, doesn't look too bad. So I'm going to come over here to frame 30, and I think what I want to do is just take one of these and move them forward just a bit, and take the other one and move it back just a bit and see what happens here. Let's also take a look at the head now. What should the head be doing? I feel like as the chest comes out, the head should come down just a bit. So let's take a look at that. I'll bring it back to frame 30 at this point in time, and I'll tilt it down just a hair. And then I'll select that first keyframe for the head, duplicate it, and move it out to frame 60. So now we've got that looping from frame 1 through 30 to frame 60. Let's take a look at that. So it looks to me like it's, let me zoom in here. Now we've selected the head, and let me zoom in to see what we can find here. I'm going to hit the period key on the numpad to zoom in. And if I open up the head item here in the graph editor, I can see the individual location, rotation, and scale here. And it looks like I want to take a look at the rotation in the X. It looks like it's got quite a large curve here at the beginning. And let's see what happens if we then duplicate this. I'm going to take this one keyframe here and press Shift D and move it over to here now, frame 60. Let's take a look at that. So it looks like here's the X now. And I'm going to press Control and middle mouse button and kind of drag up just so I can see the curve a little better. So you can kind of see what's happening. It's kind of curving up a lot here, and then it kind of angles down a little bit differently at the end. Let's see if we can get this to work a little better. What we need is for this curve to look a little more like this curve, so it flows into it a little better from the back. So if this is flowing into this and repeating, we want this keyframe to look similar to this keyframe. So if I select this keyframe, I can click this handle here and move it around like this and try and get that curve to match up a little better. Let's see how that works. I'll hit play. A little bit better. If I go back to frame 30 and move this down some more even, look how that kind of stretches it up a bit. Let's see how this works. Little too much, but still you can see the effects of it though. I'm gonna select this and hit the G key and the Y key and just move it down in the Y axis here. Something like this. There we go. I'll adjust this a bit with the G key just to try and get that curve so it looks about the same on both sides. There we go. That's all I wanted. Just a little bit of a tilt down with the head as the chest comes back. And once again, I can move this up a bit, GY, and move it up a bit to make it a little bit more pronounced. If we play the animation, to me it looks like he begins breathing and then the head comes down. And that's because we've got this kind of bow in the graph right here. And what I'd like to do is have it come straight or more straight from the first keyframe to the middle. It's a small thing, but I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk about tangents and free tangents. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to come over here and select that first keyframe for the head. And you can see I'm on the X-axis here. And I can select just this handle and press the G key, and I can move that handle so now that curve goes up more straight to the middle keyframe. Alright, so let's do that with this one over here. If I take this one over here and I select this handle and I press the G key, you can see that it turns that other one as well. And I don't really want that per se. Let's say there's another keyframe over here and I don't want to angle that curve up or down. What I can do is I can actually break or free this particular handle from the movement of the other one. So if I select the keyframe, come down here to key, I've got handle type. And now I can choose free. So if I just select that keyframe and hit the V key, now I can choose free. And now if I select that one handle, I can move it independently of the other handle. And that can be pretty handy. In fact, I use that all the time. So let's get this right about here, let's say. Now if we go back and play that, that head is moving at the same time as the chest. So that helped. I think I could maybe tweak a little bit more here, but I think generally that's pretty good. All right. Well, there are, of course, other things we could do. We could have him look around. We could have him move his feet back and forth and swing the hammer. We could do just about anything, but this is just a very basic idle sequence. So in the next video, we'll begin working on the run cycle for the character. See you then.